Hello, everyone, and welcome back. We are so excited to here tonight. Today is going to be one of my favorite episodes. I can't wait to share what we have in store for you. And I'm going to ask you if you can right now, if you're joining us, please share, comment. If you have questions, click like. All of that is 99 cent free or 99 free 99. That's how you say it, free 99. But it's very important because that helps us continue to do podcasts like this and just bring out all this information. So tonight we're going to go ahead and start the recording. And for those of you who are watching us, enjoy. Those who are listening to our voice, enjoy as well. So let's go ahead and get started. And here we go. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Muddy and Friends, where we have real conversations about growth, purpose, reinvention, and the people who have shaped our journey. Today's episode is a special one for me. I'm sitting down with someone who once played and still plays a very important role in my professional life and my personal life. My former boss, Melissa Kaye. But more than that, she's a woman who has always been a connector of people and a builder of community. Melissa Kaye has always had a gift for gathering others, that's for sure. Through women's business networking and events, her work at Here on Earth, Hearing Care Center, she has helped people, and I'm a witness, reconnect not just with sound, but with life and to each other. But her story didn't stop there. Melissa stepped away from business ownership and to something even deeper. Now she leads Elevate Villages, and she'll tell us all about it, a nonprofit community for the youth aging out of foster care, this is amazing. I want everybody to know, to hear what she has to say. Her life continues to reflect connection, belonging, and purpose. Today, we're going to talk about transition, obedience to the calling of leadership, and what that really means. So grab your cup of coffee and let us dive in. Welcome, Melissa. Welcome.
Maria, my friend, I am honored and thrilled to be here.
Awesome. We're so excited. So have you have your own podcast, right? You've done podcasting before. So
I
you're not
do.
new to this environment. Good.
No,
Awesome.
and I'll tell you where I'm at right now in the season. Thank goodness for podcasts, for Zooms. Like I get to talk to people all day. Otherwise, I might be crazy. So, yes, I love connecting. I wish I was just sitting on the couch with you live, but next best is a virtual chat room. I love it.
And
I'm
I'm glad
happy to be
because
here.
we're gonna have a conversation about this amazing project and everything that you're doing. And our purpose, as Melissa and I were sharing, for those of you listening, our purpose is to bring more awareness of her nonprofit organization, what she's doing, the amazing work. And I believe this is such going to be such an important podcast for us to share what you have going on. You have a lot going on. And on a personal note, I'm really excited to see her because we shared many years together. And I just want to say, I want to thank you. I know I've told you before, but I want to thank you for teaching me a lot, for teaching me about business, about networking. I didn't know what that was. And I was just like, what is networking? So I learned about network. I learned about hearing. I learned about dealing with people. I learned so much that there's a whole life outside my little bubble. And you pushed me. She pushed me. I'm telling you, when she pushed me to talk to people. She pushed me to be out there, to get it done, and just to have a different mindset of being a go-getter. And I even remember one of the first times that she sent us out on an amazing vacation to the Mall of America. I don't know if you remember that. That was like, that stretched me because I was like, what in the world is this lady doing? So she sent us to conferences. I mean, I don't need to tell her what an amazing woman she is, but she showed conferences. I had never been to women conferences. I had never been to network events. I had never seen women in business. I got to experience all of that. And she pushed me and she opened my eyes. And I thought, I could do more. I could do more. I can actually learn, and I can actually want to be a better person, better woman. She just opened my mind. So if I haven't told her, I'll tell you again. Gracias, Melissa. Muchas gracias. So,
Igualmente, mi amiga. She even taught me some Spanish. But I have to, before we go on, I have to say, like, that warms my heart because I was always like wondering, like, I hope I have that effect, but I think of you as the same. You were I tell people, that you were my Oprah, you were my Yoda. And every time, so to my office, I had to pass through Maria's area and go up to my office. And I would sit on the steps right there, and you imparted so much wisdom to me. Like the fact that
Aw.
to you sort of expanding your world, I don't really know that I was aware of that. So thank you. But you were just this warm, beautiful, welcoming space.
Aw, thank you.
Even though you were my employee, you were still good at, like, you learned and you were an amazing employee, but you also knew how to push that line to push me. I don't know if you remember one time I walked through and I probably gave you a list of 72 things to do. And you just went, whoa, whoa, whoa. You said, there's a lot of things. I can't get these all done today. Could you please tell me which ones are most important and let's prioritize? And like until that second, it didn't dawn on me to think about the workload I was putting on you. But you weren't mad, like you didn't disrespect me. You didn't get frustrated. You were just like, whoa. You understood that I didn't know everything, and you gave me so much grace in that space. And so I grew so much having you as my business right hand.
Oh, thank
So
you.
thank you. Thank you.
So this is gonna turn into a love fest podcast, girl. We need to, and there's so much stuff that I was able to learn, and I did not know the world about ballroom dancing. And Melissa taught me that. I did.
Ooh,
There's so many marriages we could really talk about a lot. Like you helped me enjoy one of the greatest experience I had when I went to Wicked. You gave me a book, you gave me this, you gave me
oh
all
my
that stuff.
God, Wicked.
I still have it, the CD and all that.
Oh,
I remember I didn't know what ballroom dancing and now what the heck is that? And then not only I saw the ball gowns, I saw learned a respect for that type of art, and it's like
mm,
athleticism, like being an athlete, and
mm.
the work that goes into it, and just the dedication and all that stuff. And I got to see you travel to Europe, and it was just, I mean, so many things, so many amazing things that I
And I
learned.
got to do all that stuff I got to do because you were there holding down the fort. Like I never had to worry about the office when I was gone. I knew the patients were taken care of. I
Yeah.
knew if there was an emergency, you'd
Hold
connect
the
with
fort till you
me.
got there. Tell you hold the fort, hold the fort. And one of the things that I also wanted to tell you is that I'll never forget when I went through cancer, and you said, "Give me your address," and you send me the pendant, the
Oh, the
fearless.
sword, the
The
fearless woman's
sword,
sword.
yes,
Mm,
and I got to see you. I saw when you wore it, when you went to court, when you went to this, and then you gifted to me when I
mm,
went through cancer, and I wore it when I went through chemo. And I always thought I don't have a daughter, but I would love to give it to another powerful woman someday in my life. And as of recently, I was able to give it to my only niece, and she cried. And I said, I can only give it to one, and a special woman gave it to me, and I'm only can give it to another special woman. And I gave it to her, and I told her the story, and she's oh my god, she's into a new project, and she wears it every time she feels a little bit like she
mm.
needs strength. She'll wear it, and I'm like, oh. So I just wanted to
I
tell you that.
love that. Thank you. Oh, I love that.
All right, so let's get into what we came here to do and to share this amazing project. So tell us a little bit about, do you want to talk about the project, or do you want to talk about how you transition and how belonging became part of this amazing project that you're doing?
Mm. Let's start with the project because
Okay.
I think I was told a while back from a coach that your biggest area of fracture is your biggest impact to the world. If you can heal your biggest fracture, that's your biggest gift to the
Uh,
world. And so I think that the project found me, and
how
in
did that happen?
pursuing it, I found healing and I found my biggest fracture, which was not belonging and learning to belong. So while it's sort of been a path I can see through my whole life, this is what's made it really real. And it just keeps coming at deeper and deeper and deeper levels of belonging. And so, yeah, so let's start with the project and then it'll sort of reveal parts of my journey.
So how did you come across this? That's just an amazing.
Well, So you've known me for a long time, Maria, and we both grew up in the church,
Yes.
pastor dads, and both had some struggles, I think, as adults.
Yeah.
And I think the whole time you were with me, I didn't really go to church anymore, maybe Christmas or Easter.
Yeah.
Still, I never
Special
was
occasions.
like, I didn't believe in God, but I had to put him in a box and put him away because I couldn't come to terms with what I'd been taught and what I felt and believed. So there was just a lot of a dissonance there. So fast forward after I left El Paso and moving through kind of experiencing life and trying to learn and figure out what my greater purpose was, it wasn't working out. And I kept hitting walls, like wall after wall. And, this period of time that you and I walked our path together, everything I did sort of succeeded.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, it all just nothing. So I knew what it was like to succeed. I knew what it was like to pursue something and have all the pieces just
Yeah.
sort of click into place. And it wouldn't happen anymore. It was a constant like struggle, fight. And I could do things that didn't matter and I could be successful at them, but that like my heart was just like, oh, what is it? So without going into all the deep story, a bunch of stuff had happened. And I was just at my house one day and I'd had it. I was so angry. I was angry at God. It was storming out. I remember it was storming and I was just crying and I threw myself across my bed and I was like, God, what do you want from me? Like, what do you want? And so I wasn't in a really close, intimate part of my walk, but I still had the faith. I still had like the belief, like that's who I called to. And I knew that he had a really special purpose for me. And so I fell asleep just, like the ugly cry, my
Yeah.
eyes swollen, a headache. And I fell asleep really thinking that the lightning was going to come through the house and kill me
Oh
because
my.
I was so angry. And you know me, I'm not a very angry person.
Yeah.
So at 3:14 that morning, I woke up, well, like a vision, like not a dream, Maria. It was a vision. And it was
Wow.
of a village. And there was all these youth laughing and talking and then other people. And I knew when I finally, like the vision ended, I knew exactly. And for like 3 days, I sort of walked around in like a little bit of a haze. And I was like, what was that? Like right after it happened, I looked all around the room. I was like, are there angels here? Is God standing in front of me? Like it was such a powerful moment of clarity in my life. And so over the next 6 months, I would say, everything kind of just kept getting clarified. And by this time now, I was very, very open to God and my faith just grew like overnight. And God said, go. And I said, okay, where do I go? So I started this really awesome, crazy journey. And then, so that's how after the processing and, my business background, I'm like, okay, we got to start here. And so at first I had also become a coach right around
Yeah.
maybe a couple years before. And so my original thoughts were, I'm going to like become this coach. I'm going to build these programs for these youth who've aged out of foster care. Now, Maria, you knew when I had Jeanette, so my
Yeah.
foster daughter. So I had learned a lot about teens and foster care. And Jeanette has a great continuation to her story, but most youth who age out of foster care don't.
Yeah.
And so I was like, I'm going to put together this great coaching program for them so they know how to adult. And the more, so then I started doing all this research. And the more research I did, I was like, they don't need a coaching program. They need to be safe. They need a roof over their heads. They
Wow.
need skills. They need education. Like they don't need rah, you can do it, believe in yourself. They needed belonging. And so I had been working through all that, but I hadn't quite figured it out. So then the vision comes and it was the whole village. And I was like, oh, God, you're so right. Like they need a village. They need to belong. They need everything. It's not that they turned 18 and have to try to live as adults. Like it's everything that happened to them before that. All of the trauma, all of the, like they've never had a voice. They've never had a choice. They haven't had parents who could train them. The parents they have probably, either been incarcerated or mentally ill or passed away. Like just horrible things have happened that have nothing to do with what these children chose. And then they go into a system that just passes them around. By the time they age out, the average child that ages out has been in 20 different placements. 20.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah. And by the numbers, abuse, trauma, all sorts of things have happened. And some of them will be homes, some of them will be like group homes, there's some great group homes out there, but a lot of them are not. And so
What does age out mean for those who don't know?
Oh, thank you for asking. Age out is when they turn 18. Now, in some states, there could be some extensions to 19 or 20, but in general, when they turn 18, the state no longer is responsible for them. So the state has removed them from their home, taken away parental rights, or they don't have parents or a mix. And then the state is taking care of them. So it's like, oh, you go to this house. Oh, these people don't want you. So move to this house. Oh, sometimes the reasons the kids know, sometimes they don't. And so on their 18th birthday, they send transport to their house, whatever home they're living in, and they pick them up and they take them and they drop them somewhere. It might be at an old address they had. It might be a homeless shelter. It might be the middle of a bad neighborhood that they got rescued out of if they were, being trafficked or something like that. And then they have to sign a clipboard that they got dropped off.
And that's it.
That's it.
They don't, it doesn't matter where it does. Oh my God.
On their birthday. So there was one young man I know, he turned 18 in April and he was a month away from graduating. Now he'd been in 7 different high schools and still did everything he had to do to make sure he could graduate. Wow. Well, they put him in a home, they dropped him at a homeless shelter. So that's where he stayed. The homeless shelter was a block outside of the city district or the school district. And so CPS reported to the school that they had moved him out of the foster home he was in. So they asked him for his address. He gave it to him. He was at the homeless shelter. And they said, oh, well, you can't graduate from here because you're outside our district.
No.
So he didn't get to graduate. He didn't have a car. No. He had no one. Some foster families are great and they try to stay in contact, support the kids. Some of them will help them stay longer. But often 26,000 kids a year, 20 to 26,000 are aging out. And so you can imagine a huge number of them don't have any support. They don't have that awesome caseworker who's going to keep track of them and make sure that they have all of these resources. In some states, they have a weekend class and they get a binder of all their resources. But if you're hungry and just trying to stay safe for a night and don't know where to sleep, I don't know that a notebook full of websites is really gonna do the job.
Yeah, exactly. If you don't even have somewhere to find a computer and check and stuff, and you don't have access to any of that.
And I think a big thing people don't understand is they've never had a voice. They can go to their caseworker and be like, I'm really uncomfortable in this home. The parent or somebody's not treating me right. I feel nothing happens. Wow. They can be most of them try to disappear and just try to survive. They just try to be good enough not to get in trouble. And then the family, something shifts. Maybe, they we don't have the money, or maybe they're having relationship issues, or maybe they have another kid on the way or whatever. And they can call the social worker and say, it's not working for us anymore. The next day, the kid just gets ripped out. So the kid is never, they can't say what school they want to go to. They can't say what they want to eat. They can't say, oh, I want to go have a job, because now the foster parents are now, well, how are we going to get them to the job?
Yeah.
And so it's not a normal way to grow up. And then you take what society expects of people. And no matter what kind of a home you're in, if you've had the consistency of the same, I think a lot of people come out of dysfunctional homes, but at least they have that consistency and they had some sort of voice. They had some sort of agency within their own family. These youth have none of it. And most of them don't have much of an education because they've changed schools so many times. And they're that kid that everybody just kind of passes through and gets them on their way. So they're after foster, 50% of them will be homeless within the first 18 months. Of those, 50% of those will be homeless chronically for the rest of their life. Oh. 80% will live in poverty their whole life. Only 3% will ever graduate college. 70% of the girls are pregnant before they're 20. 70% of the boys will end up incarcerated. They're numbers of I'm going to use the word failure, are so much greater than the average 18-year-old. And this isn't because of their choices. It's not because they're bad kids. It's not because they did something wrong. It's because they had parents who couldn't show up for them, or they didn't have parents. So anyway, so they're a village. Now they get to come. We'll have tiny homes or small homes. There's lots of different housing models we're looking at.
And how does that work? Who invented this? Who came up with this concept? How does if you can explain I know a little bit of it because I've done research, but for those of you who are listening or will be listening to this, if you can explain what that is, it's an amazing, I mean, it's an amazing concept. So if you can explain that, look at your face. You just went,
so part of it, so much learning. And so when God gave me the vision and he said, go, I said, I'm ready, let's go. But God knew that I needed to learn a lot. I needed to discover and research a lot. So there's a lot of different pieces coming in, and I'll try to not follow too many rabbit trails, but there's so many fabulous things. So first off, one of the reasons these kids end up in such a horrible situation is because the way our world works right now, the way our Western society works, is everyone wants their own little castle and we're all separated from each other. And then add technology to that. Like, we're so separated in life. And if you look back at how villages used to run, we all help each other. If there was a parent who couldn't take care of their kids, the neighbors took care, the families took care. Now,
that's what I say. It takes a village.
It takes a village. Like there's a reason for that saying. So first off, that was like a village. But then you look, and these kids in institutional settings, like in group homes, they've had really lots of trauma. So there's lots of triggers there. So it didn't need to be like a dorm situation or apartments or, everybody has a little room. Like it needed to be, they needed agency, they needed ownership. So that's where tiny homes came in. And when I say tiny homes, I don't mean like a trailer. I don't mean like a trailer park. I mean like a luxury tiny home village, like real homes, but just small because they're 18. They don't own anything. Yeah. So in 400 square feet, you can have a bed, you can have a little kitchen, you can have a full bathroom, and you can have it furnished, and they can have everything they need. And they get their own space where they can learn to feel safe. They can learn to heal, and they can learn to feel some ownership. They can learn to feel like, oh, this is my space. I'm not just, couch surfing. I'm not just sitting in someone else's apartment or someone else's floor. And so I felt like that ownership piece is really important. But then the goal is to have 80 homes in the village. So there'll be 10 different sections, each with 8 homes in a circle, not on a street, not like lined, like a circle, because that's going to create community. So all the houses are facing in, and they all have porches, because porches is where we hang out and we meet each other. And as you walk around, you see people on the front porch. That's where you get to say, hey, what's going on? And then they'll have a little, like a placard by their front door that has all of their gifts. Oh, I play guitar. I'm great at tech. Really? I'm good at babysitting. I love to cook. Wow. I love to do art.
So these are already in some places they're already there. They're already active, these villages and stuff?
No. We have not built one yet. Okay. So you get to be here from the beginning.
Yay. Wow.
And so the vision is, so let's say, Maria, let's say you want to come live in a village. Like you get to live there like a normal citizen. You're a neighbor. So I now have a lot of friends who have aged out of foster care at different age levels. And one of them, she's close to my age. She said, Melissa, it's so valuable being friends with you because I know so many other kids who grew up like me. And it's so fresh to know somebody who doesn't have our story, that's possible, that's out there. And she said, it's so important for me to have people like you around me. And so why would we want to put them all together over there? Oh, it's those people. There is no us and them, Maria. There's us. Wow. There's only us. And if we're hurting part of us, then we're all hurting. Like this is going towards the belonging thing. So creating a village was of course, God always knows best. Like that's his way to bring belonging. So now they can start having family around them. Maybe not blood family, but family.
Yeah.
You know, those people who love and support them, those people who are like, you've got this, girl, go. That person who's going to be like, oh, you have a job interview? I got a car, let's go. I'll take
Yeah.
you to your job interview. And that person who's like, wow, I'm sick, I need to go to the doctor. And now some of our youth can be like, hey, I'll take you. So it, like the citizens that live in there who don't have the background, and then the lived experience youth, they get to help each other like the way the world should be. There's no better or worse, or you're those people. So they'll come in, they'll have time to heal and to be safe. And depending where they're at, their education, where they're at in experience, everyone will be a different story. They're not going to be treated like a spreadsheet. They're going to be treated like humans. And then as we, obviously they'll need to finish at least their high school education. And then we'll put them into, so we'll have businesses, Elevate Village businesses that they'll get to work in, that they'll make a livable wage. And so in the beginning, if they're still in school, they may only be able to work 2 hours a week, 5 hours a week. And so we'll help them learn how to budget and handle money, in that whatever they make, a certain percentage will be their rent. So they may live rent free for 30 days or 90 days or 6 months, depending on their situation. But once they're able to work, they start learning how to contribute to the village. And so they'll be graduating rent. If Maria's living in the, then you're just paying, you either like brought your house in or bought the house or renting the house, whatever. And so now the village is all taking care of each other. We have community dinners every evening. So if you live in the village, maybe twice a month, you have to sign up for dinner. And so you get together with a group of 8 or 10 or 12 other people, and you make dinner together for the whole village. And now we come and we sit around and we talk and we learn from each other. And I learn from you and you learn from me, and the youth feel valued, and what they bring to the table is important. And then we have obviously lots of classes and learnings, and we already have our whole governance and cultural manual. So everyone who lives in the village will take classes about how we show up in this village, conflict resolution. We're going to be practicing nonviolent communication. So much. And then, you know, we have parties and we have concerts. We'll have an amphitheater. So that's, now we're inviting the external community in with us, work days. And in that, people in the surrounding community will get to sign up to be official mentors. They'll take a mentoring class. And this is built after a model from a nonprofit in San Diego, California called Just in Time. They've been going like 28 years. They have an amazing model for mentorship. And so they're working with me, and we're going to implement that model. So people in the community will come to these events, and through a very just, organic way, they'll meet the youth. And so instead of being like, Maria, you have to go with, you know,
So.
Sue, like, no, you're just going to hang out with them until the right, you know, things just like those relationships click. And pretty soon you're gonna be like, oh, and that's your person, and she's your person, and you're her person. And now you're there to mentor her from a level, because she doesn't have that parent to call. Now she'll have that adult to call. So many layers to the villages, but fixing one part of the problem isn't going to fix it. Like, that's a patch. It's a Band-Aid. So the village is a whole. It's creating wholeness for the youth. It's creating wholeness for anybody living in the village. It's what our world is missing. Like, we don't have that wholeness in our human experiences and our human connections. So it doesn't serve them just to give them a housing voucher and then let them figure it out. It doesn't serve them just to give them a scholarship. What serves them is for us to see them as humans and to see them as us. And now I'm going to come and make sure that you have everything you need to succeed, creating the conditions that will give them the opportunities where they can thrive.
And explain to me how that ties into them belonging, that belonging part. How does that feed into that? How does that help? How does it heal that belonging?
Yeah. So not belonging, actually, I'm going to ask you a question back. Was there, like, what's a time that comes right to your mind when I say not belonging? Was there a time you didn't belong?
Oh, high school, for sure. High school was tough. When I went to high school in Ohio, and I remember specifically Findlay, Ohio, and there's this Hispanic girl that just went to a high school, and I was the only Hispanic there, and it was It was tough. It was tough. It was tough. Because I remember that even the biggest memory was I couldn't open my locker. I couldn't open my locker to put my code in there. I didn't know the dial. I didn't know.
Oh.
I just didn't know. Like we don't have that in Puerto Rico. I don't know what to do. And so that and not that anybody treated me wrong. No, it's just the idea of I didn't belong in that culture. I didn't find my place.
Mhm.
I just I just didn't belong. That's right away that comes to mind.
Yeah. So imagine your whole life not feeling like you belonged, or the place maybe you feel like you belong with maybe your parent, but you don't get to be with them. So it, we can't heal anything if we don't heal the root. So the root is these kids haven't belonged, and they have felt it at a level that most of us probably will never feel it. So creating a village where we're not saving them, we're not fixing them. We're creating a place where they get to belong by showing up as a citizen, by showing up in leadership, by showing up in intelligence, by like bringing everything they are.
Mhm.
And it doesn't matter what that is. All of us are gifted. So you bring whatever gifts you have. And then it's the village's job to figure out how that all works. It's something we don't have now. We're in such a domination society that it's about getting to the top and then telling all the bottom what to do. That's not how living systems work. It's not how cultures around the world for generations have operated. And I think we can do better than all of that we've ever done in the past. And I think when you take a lot of citizens who've never had a chance and never belonged anywhere, and you put them together with great conditions and say, what are we going to create together? Now, not only do you belong because we're choosing to live together and we're choosing to love each other, like love is a choice,
Yeah.
but you also belong because we're seeing the best in you and bringing it forward. We're not just being like, oh, we're going to save you. You poor little thing here, stay in the house. No, we're saying, do you want to come live with us and build something really amazing? And so, like when you were in high school and you didn't belong and you couldn't find your place and they weren't your people, imagine if another student or a teacher had opened up and said, wow, let's learn about Puerto Rico. What gifts does Maria bring?
Mhm.
Like it would have only taken one person.
Absolutely.
And then
Mhm.
everybody else, oh, wow, I want to be a part of that. I want to know about
Yeah.
that. But it has to start with one. We have to open it up and we have to create those conditions that it's okay to be different, that it's okay to have our bad stories, that it's okay to mess up. Like this isn't going to be perfect. It's not going to be nirvana. This is going to be
Yeah.
learning. We're going to learn as we
Yeah.
go. Like there's going to be some mess ups. There's, it's not all going to be perfect. But when we choose love, when we choose belonging, and so that's like a lot of the work that I've done over the last few years and a lot of the work that God's done in me
Mhm.
is, I've always in some ways built community.
Yes.
And Maria, from all the community I've built, I've always still been on the outside of it. Like that's how I've always felt. Like I'm great at like orchestrating,
Yes.
but I'm never really in the middle of it. I'm like, I call myself an edge walker. Now I've come to where I love that and I see where my place is belonging within that. But belonging itself has to be like a position of our heart. And so I've gone all the way to saying there are like circles of belonging. Like there's people you belong to more. They're just like, you're my person. Like you belong to me. You're like in my inner circle.
Yeah.
But if I can't look at every single human that I interact with that passes and say in some way I belong to him, like look at the story of the Good Samaritan in the Bible.
Yeah.
That's all we need to know. Like it's not about, oh, I take my people and protect them. No, we're all together. There's like in the New Testament, neither slave or free or Gentile or Jew or man or woman, we are all one and all. Like we're all one. So if I'm not showing up, creating space and belonging and love for the human in front of me, then that's like unravel that and you'll see why the world is in the fractured state it is. Because we wanted to, oh no, I'm going to pick my people and then I'm going to like shove everybody else out. That's not belonging.
Yeah.
So creating belonging is so important for these youth so that they understand how fundamentally valuable they are.
And belonging is extremely important because that's why gangs get developed so easy. That's why all these groups, they just attract them, because we have all these kids wanting to belong, wanting the fact that somebody knows about you, that somebody knows you exist, that somebody is a witness to your life.
That's it. Yes, a witness to your life.
That somebody says, Maria was here, she
Mhm.
did this, she created this, she lives here, this is her house, this is her life. And just to be a witness. And sometimes I think about, I kept thinking, oh my God, like you just asked me, what if I had lived years and years of that, not finding my place in that high school? And that was just a moment, that was just a couple of weeks until I learned the ropes. But had that been my whole life, that would created a different human being, or me.
Mhm.
I'd be a totally different person. I wouldn't trust nobody. I would just be, I mean, choices would make different. I know would have made different. How I value my life would be different. And that's where all these kids, and how fast they go into these groups, into these occults, into these all these things, because one of the main things that they offer is, we want you here, we
Belonging.
want you to belong with us. And that says like, oh, somebody cares about me. Somebody, today I wake up and somebody is going to know my name, somebody knows I exist, I belong. And that's
Mhm.
that's so powerful, like you're explaining it. You belong to me, and we belong to this human race. And the fact that somebody cares, and somebody's going to be a witness to your life. Oh, just that is. And how has this affected you? Like you at the beginning, you were saying that through this process you found some healing. So I want to hear a little bit about that.
Yeah, so much of growing up was not from the outside, people would have thought I belonged, but I was only belonging because I was twisting myself in knots to keep everybody happy.
Mm,
Like if I was honest about who I was and what I thought, then I was shamed and I was punished, and that wasn't allowed. Um, like I didn't experience what I needed to have felt unconditionally loved. So I belonged because I was not true to who I was. And
mm,
you were there like later on in my life that
yeah,
caused a lot of issues.
yeah.
Um, but I refused, like I was loved and safe, but I didn't truly belong because I wasn't accepted for who I was. I wasn't
Mhm.
accepted and looked at for my gifts. I was told you have to be this person, you have to look like this, you have to say this and behave like this. Instead of let's see who you are. Like God's breath is in all of us.
Amen.
So who is that? Like God made us all special and unique, and let's really learn to see each other instead of it's easier. It's sort of, I think, an escape to say, like, I want you to look like me and think like me and believe like me and tell me what I want to hear. And then I think you're a good person.
Mhm.
Oh, like that's what I've started learning to see people in all their complexity and all their layers and like which part of it, where in it is God peeking through. And if I can love into that part, then that part expands. If all I do is try to take whatever I don't like about you and try to change it, like that doesn't go anywhere good.
It doesn't.
If you change for me to impress me or to please me or to get a paycheck,
Yeah,
it
yeah,
doesn't grow the best part of you, which is the God part of you.
yeah.
But if I can find like, oh, there's the glimmer. That's so beautiful. And I just love that part. And I love all the parts, but that part I like speak into you, like speak into you the greatness that I see in you. Now that can grow and that can expand. And now, because we can't, how are we going to belong in a group if we don't first belong to ourselves? Like if I'm not being true to who I am and I'm twisting and turning to show up so everybody likes me,
Yeah.
wear the right clothes or have the right hairdo or say the right thing or read the right Bible verse or pray in the right way so that you guys think I'm okay.
Mhm.
Well, now I don't even belong to myself. So first I have to belong to myself, which means now I have to be bold and brave enough to show up. And if all the people around me aren't accepting that, we're human. Like we're going to go back to, okay, wait. I want to be liked again.
Yeah.
So if we as humans, what I'm learning is just to see everyone as the breath of God. And then you start seeing it in people. Like the people I would never think I'd see it in, I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, so I'm observing a lot more and I'm judging a lot less. And I'm loving a lot more and I'm expecting a lot less. So there was one day I was with a group virtually, and they had sent us to breakout rooms. There was like 4 per room. And before we left the big group, they said, when you go into your breakout rooms, just go around quickly and say what you have been tending to this week. Tending. Like, not what did you do this week, but what were you tending? And I kind of waited because I was like, and where I'm at right now, while I'm prepping, I'm dog sitting. And so I was like, I guess I'm tending dogs. But then I'm like, no, that's what I'm doing. What am I tending? And as the went around the room and everybody was saying, it came to me and I was like, I'm tending. This is when all of these learnings for like the last multiple years, it was like in this moment, like the moment of the vision, this was a new moment around belonging. And I guess I'm tending to belonging. And I'm wondering if we really believed that we all belong to each other, that you belong to me and I belong to you, like how does that make me show up different every day? And so, for example, like I've slowed my life down. I don't stay so busy because I find when I'm doing that, I'm missing people. I don't see people. I'm like too busy to see them.
Wow.
And so I slow my life down, and sometimes I don't like that because you know me, I like to go. I like to do. But I've been really intentional to go, if I'm going to the grocery store, I'm not going to just run in and grab. I'm going to have time to breathe and walk around. And if I see someone struggling, if I see somebody trying to get something on a higher shelf, I'll grab it for them. If I see, if I'm blessed that week and I have a little bit of extra in my account, and you know those people who are struggling and they're counting like they have their $7 and they're trying to figure out what to buy.
Yeah.
You know what? Let me go and buy them some groceries. Let me help that mama in the parking lot who is juggling 2 babies and groceries. And let me just help her get her stuff in her car and take her cart for her.
Yeah.
Like the littlest things that if you were there, Maria, I would do it for you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like if I saw you struggling, I'd be right. I don't care if I'm late to my next meeting. I would be there for you.
For sure.
Because you're my girl.
Yep, for sure.
And we do that for our families, and we do that for people we love, and we do that for people we're trying to impress. But we're not doing that for everybody because we don't see people. We just walk through our life so focused on what we want and our little tiny circle. And so what I found is opportunities left and right, Maria. There was one week where I'm like, ooh, did I really ask for this? Do I really want to belong to everybody? And of course, yes, I do.
Because I can see how there was a shift in your mind, in your perception, how you see things. I can see that shift. And that's one of the reasons why I was so interested in talking about belonging, because I know in my life, I've dealt with isolation, especially after COVID, especially after going through cancer, after going, I wanted to be isolated. And when I was kind of looking at through the website and this and that, and the things that you're writing and everything, I'm like, oh my God, do I feel like I belong? So I started to ask questions, and now that you're explaining it more, it makes me think like, oh my God, I'm probably going like this, like you say. If I would just open my vision a little bit more, I could see more people struggling, and I can see that it's just not, the world of Maria, that there's other people that could use, that other people want to belong to somebody else as much as I do. And if I would open myself up, I could be more useful. I could have more purpose. I could help more people. I can do more of what God's called me to do, and just give more of myself instead of just inside, tend to be isolated.
Consume,
and consume with me and my issues.
And then your issues are like, it's when we have that outward focus and what can I do? What can I give? For some reason, all of a sudden you start belonging more. Like the more I give, the more I find people. Like I went out last weekend because I just really wanted to like take someone to breakfast, like someone who is like, probably on the streets, maybe eats at, the shelter or whatever. And like, you can tell who those people are. I was like, I woke up in the morning, I'm like, oh, I want to go take one to breakfast. And I just want them to eat pancakes and everything they want. I'm just going to keep ordering them food. Maria, I drove around for 30 minutes and I couldn't find anybody.
No
I
way.
was
Oh my
so sad. Like I was so sad. It's like I need my person because it's starting to be an addiction for me. Like not like I think a healthy addiction.
Correct.
I'm happiest now when I'm figuring out how to make someone else's life richer. And Maria, I am no saint. God gave me 20 beautiful years where it was all about me. I danced and I traveled and I did all the stuff.
You did. You sure did. You sure did.
And I hit that, when I went to Europe and, I came back and I changed everything because I was like, it just all of a sudden, like I had reached all my goals. And then I was like, that's it. Like, And so ever since I've been pursuing that deeper meaning and purpose. And so helping people open their eyes up to belonging. So in order to get these villages built, like this is the biggest, hugest like thing I've ever even dreamed of doing. And yet
all I'm saying is that he picked the right person. He really, I've seen your work. I've seen your work ethic. I've seen how hard, and not only how hard you work, but with your heart, when you believe, and oh my God, when you believe in something, you just make it work. You figure, everything is figure outable. That's not a word, but
figure outable. Everything's figure outable.
Everything's figure. That's not a word, but we're going to use it today. But you can, one of the phrases that I always remember about you is like, that you never say, no, I can't have that. I remember it's in my mind when sometimes when I get stuck, I hear you say, don't say I can't have it. Say, how do I figure out how to get it? So reframe that. You would say that. You said it a couple of times, and you would say, if there was a big bill coming, you would say, I'm not going to worry about how I need to pay it, or I'm not going to say I can't pay it. I'm going to say, okay, how much more do I have to sell to get it? Or what is it that I need to do to reach that goal? It was never about, no, I can't do it. It's not, let's figure it out. So that's why, to me, it's everything. Like if you got called to do this, you will figure it out. If anybody can do it, it's figure outable.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So we have these big bills. You're absolutely right. Like you don't figure out what you can do and then set the goal. You set the goal and figure out how to reach it. Like, what do I have to do? How do I need to show up? And I'll tell you, Maria, it's frustrating for me right now. If you had 3 years ago when I had the vision, if you told me 3 years from now, I still wouldn't have a village, I'd be like, no, I set a goal and I get it. But then I had like the first thing God taught me out of the gate, like the first he said, go, he provided the next space. I went, it was 3.5 months in Missouri, utterly alone. Like I did not know what I was getting myself into, utterly alone. But God took me there to teach me surrender.
Woo!
And that's the first thing he taught me was surrender. And then deeper of surrender and deeper. And so as this journey goes, he also showed me, I call it the so that. Like if I look back on my whole life and you and I could talk through a lot of the milestones, I'm like, oh, that's why I did that. So I would have this skill. And so I can look at the big picture of the villages and break it down and go, wow, like all the random crazy stuff I did built all of these muscles that I need to see all of these different pieces. Now it's amazing. Like I'll need people around me who are better than me and smarter than me, but I get all the pieces. Like I see it all. And I wouldn't if I didn't do all the stuff I had done. So while God blessed me, like over blessed me, letting me dance and letting me have the businesses and letting me live
all the experiences,
shiny life, I also always faithfully showed up, and I did the things, and I've learned so many different things. I've known so many different people. I see business in certain ways. Like those are God's gifts. Like those aren't me doing it. But I looked, so during the surrender time, he showed me that. And he's like, you thought you were on your own journey doing your own thing, but I was preparing you. And then he continues to prepare me. So the next like big step to do the villages, and this was a second vision that he gave, was to go on a tour. So I'm going to go like in an RV, tour around the country for a year, 40 different cities.
Wow.
Talking to, finding people who want to partner and be a part of Elevate, finding, learning about the different cities and planting the seeds. So once we have the one village and it's working, we can expand pretty quickly, because cities, like there's people in those cities waiting and paving the way and getting city council ready and getting zoning ready. And like there's so much. So to go and plant the seeds, well, then the tour sort of has taken even a deeper meaning as God's working this belonging into me because of how fractured the world is. He said, go out there and you're going to build the villages and you're going to meet the people, but you're going to meet a lot of people who aren't the people. What are you going to do for those people?
Wow.
Like, oh, belonging. So now it's called the Belonging Tour, the Elevate Villages Belonging Tour. So everywhere we go, we have experiential things that we're going to be calling people into events and having them do. It's not like me standing up on a stage speaking with a beautiful slideshow and saying, now donate to Elevate. No, this is about belonging. So people are going to get in circles and understand all the fractures that happened when we didn't belong. And they're going to understand all those beautiful healing moments when somebody saw us, when somebody witnessed our life.
Yeah.
And then we're going to talk about, okay, how am I going to create belonging in my world? And so when I leave a city, I'm going to leave knowing more people and having more opportunities. But I hope more than that, when I leave a city, I leave behind a whole new sense of belonging everywhere. So I'm calling, a movement of belonging. Like if that can spread across this country, I'll continue to help youth who've aged out of foster care, but so many people are going to learn who they want to bring in to belong. So I think people who know that they have a bigger purpose are going to show up and be like, oh, this is what I've been missing. And so, God doesn't do anything little, Maria.
Hey, he sure doesn't. He sure doesn't. Yeah. So how do we tell people to connect with you, to follow you, to listen to your story? I know that you're on Facebook. That you're on TikTok, Facebook. You are on social
everywhere.
Media. So we're gonna follow your journey and this tour. So we need to get the word out. So
Maria, so I have a free. It's called the Belonging Kit or the Belonging Starter Kit. Then go to my website, whatever pop-up pops up. If you fill it out, you'll get the kit. Or there is a website, actual page for it as well. But just go to elevatevillages.org. And where the pop-up pops up, please, I know it's annoying, but just fill it out. And then you'll be guided to download the Belonging Kit. Maria, I don't know if you downloaded it yet.
I was started, and then I'll get to it in a minute, but I know exactly what you're talking about because it's real simple. Just information, and it tells you download it right now, but I didn't get to that yet.
Just your name and your email. That's all we're asking. And right now there's like one email a month maybe you get. When we're on tour, it'll be a little bit more, but it's not like we're not spamming you with email. We just want you to follow us, and we want you to belong. And so in the Belonging Kit, you have belonging practices. Like just read through them and go, oh, I could do that. And that would make me feel like I belonged, and it would make others feel like I belonged. There's belonging practices. There's prompts. If you like to write, there's journal prompts. There is a book list of all of my favorite books that this journey has brought me on. So whether you want to learn about co-living or foster youth or how we show up better in this world, like really rich resource books, book list. There's a movie list of movies that like tickle me about belonging. Like if you read it, you're like, oh, that's all about, once you start into something, you see it everywhere. Yeah. A song list about belonging. And then towards the end, there's a gifts test, and it's not like official test. It's read through it and you'll understand what your gifts are. And you're like, oh, I can give this. Like we might not all have money to give, or we might not have an RV to donate to Elevate Villages. We might not have a house. We might not be in a position to foster children. Like but we all have gifts. And so it's a really cute way. I think it's a really innovative way to, and when you read through this, you're going to be like, oh, I do have something I can give. And so anyway, download it. It's a free kit. And I spent a lot of time and my heart is in that kit. So I hope you enjoy it and get
I
something out of
will.
it.
I definitely will. So I would just want to say, if you are listening to this podcast, make sure you share, you like, send it to somebody that you know can be part of this movement, this amazing movement. And I'm excited for what we're gonna see God do in your life and what's coming. And we'll do more podcasts. We'll do an update, see where you're at. We'll follow you. We'll do whatever we can to get the this out there so we can support you in any way, shape, or form that we can. So any last words before we go, Melissa?
Well, we also have, so I just started the first of the year. God was like, okay, start talking about belonging. So because I'm not on tour yet, we're doing the Belonging podcast, which for all of Maria's followers, she's going to be on it in like 3 weeks. So follow the Belonging the Belonging podcast by Elevate Villages. We're on YouTube. We're on all your favorite channels. So follow the podcast. And then when Maria's on,
we'll put the link on the comments. We'll put the link here and other places. We'll put the link so they can go follow us.
Thank you. Thank you. So then Maria's going to be on it and let's keep talking about belonging. Of course, I'm going to come through up also on tour. And so Maria, we can maybe sit down and do a in-person interview because that's even more fun. But what would be my closing words? You matter.
Yeah.
And Maria, you do, obviously, but all the listeners, whoever's watching or listening to this, you matter. And you're here for a reason. And it's not to have a bigger house or a nicer car. It's here because we need your gifts. We need what you have to start healing this fractured world. And like when I see the fractures, I see like our gifts are like liquid gold and it's going to fill in all those spaces. So whoever you are, like whatever's pulling on your heart, come with us because we are yours and you are ours. And this world can be so much better if we come together.
Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Oh my goodness. Thank you, Melissa. And just for anyone listening, make sure you support us in every way you can. So thank you so much. And we'll see you next time. All right. Have a good night.